Okay, everyone. Now we are moving to practice. After we did a full review of units 5 and 6, now we are gonna do some practice. Uh, at this point, we are on page 82. So open your student book and go to page 82, and you see that we are gonna do two exercises. Okay. So open your books, page 82, and we're going to start some practice for this review. First, I need you to listen to the audio and then take notes on a radio interview. You see that there are some there is some information that you need to get from the interview and complete the chart here. So you can just pause the video now, listen to the audio, and go ahead and do exercises 1, 2A, and 2B, and later come back for the correction. Or you can just follow along and complete your book as I go along with the correction, okay? So now just listen to the audio.
Review Units 5 and 6. Page 82. Exercise 1.
Good afternoon, listeners. Today we're talking with Rebecca Ford, coordinator of adult literacy services at our downtown library. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Ford.
It's a pleasure to be here.
To start off, could you describe your job for us?
Sure. I'm responsible for training and supervising all the volunteer literacy tutors at the library.
How many tutors are there?
We have between 20 and 30 volunteer tutors at a time.
And who are the students that they work with?
The students are adults who don't have good reading and writing skills. Some of them are immigrants who can't read and write very well, even though they've been in this country for many years.
I see. Could you tell us more about your tutors? What kind of people are they?
Well, our tutors are all different ages, and they have different backgrounds. Some of them are volunteering for the first time, and some have volunteered many times in their lives. But in one way, they're all the same. They're very compassionate. They really care about helping other people. Also, they're very generous with their time.
I suppose they also have to be very patient if they're teaching adults to read.
Yes, that's right.
What are the requirements for becoming a literacy tutor?
Okay. First, they're required to have 12 hours of training in tutoring techniques. Then, as soon as they complete their training, we match each tutor with a student. They're required to meet their student for at least 1.5 hours per week. And the library requires a minimum commitment of 6 months.
That's good to know. Ms. Ford, if any of our listeners are interested in volunteering, who should they contact?
They can call my office. The number is 914-555-6700.
Okay, listeners, that number again is 914-555-6700 if you want to volunteer. We appreciate your taking the time to talk with us today, Ms. Ford.
I enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Great. So now we are going to go ahead and do correction. Exercise 1, page 82 in your student book. Okay, so let's go here and do the correction of exercise 1. Okay, so take notes on a radio interview. So you heard the interview and you heard what they talked about. So you have two columns here. One is about the characteristic of tutors, and then the other column is requirements to be a tutor. Okay, so one characteristic or quality of a tutor, number one here, is compassionate, care about helping. So now, what is the other characteristic? What is the other quality of a tutor? Do you remember? Very good. They have to be generous, right? And generous with their time. Okay. Questions? So, number three now. And what's the other characteristic of a tutor? What's the other quality? Very good. Patient. Yeah. So, the characteristics of a good tutor is compassionate, generous, and patient. Now, let's continue now and let's talk about the requirements to be a tutor. Okay, the things you need to do to become a tutor. Okay, number four, very good. You have to do training. More specifically, you need 12 hours of training, right? Do you remember that during the recording? Yes, 12 hours of training. What's the other requirement? Very good. Meet with students. For how long? For at least 1.5 hours per week, right? So 1.5 hours means 1 hour and 30 minutes. And usually when we say, we just put like this in English. Look, 1.5 hours, 1.5 hours per week. That's how we do. Okay. And number six is a minimum commitment of, very good, 6 months. A minimum commitment of 6 months. Okay, that's what you need, and that's what you have to do to become a tutor, according to the radio interview. Okay, do you have questions? No? Okay, so if you have questions, please reach out to me. Okay, it's very important that you reach out to me with your questions. But let's go and do exercise 2, grammar now. Okay, now we're going to do exercise 2. And remember that here we are going to work with everything that we've learned. Unit 5, Unit 6. We did a review about as soon as. It means right after. Until you use when you want to talk about up to a certain time, because it's when you're giving the reason, and although and even though basically is when you have an unexpected situation, and even though and although always goes with the certainty, the expected sentence, right? Uh, so it's very important. It's very important for you to understand this. Okay. So now let's go and complete uh, this story here. Okay. A love of technology. My friend Bob loves technology. As soon as a new computer comes out, he buys it. The same is true with his cell phone. He doesn't wait What? He doesn't wait for what? As soon as or until? Very good. He doesn't wait until the end of his contract. Da-na-na. His cell phone is still good. He buys a new one. He doesn't wait until the end of his contract. So now here, what's the option? Because or even though? Very good. Even though, right? Even though his cell phone is still good, he buys a new one. His cell phone is still good. That's for sure. That's the fact. But then the unexpected, he buys a new one. Okay, did you understand that? Very good. So now let's go to the next sentence. Da-na-na, he loves the latest technology. His house is filled with new devices. So he loves the latest technology. His house is filled with new devices. Because or even though? In this case, he loves the latest technology explains why his house is filled with new devices. So that's why here you use because. Very good. Because he loves the latest technology, his house is filled with new devices. Okay? Now continuing here, Tanana, he has the newest devices. He keeps the old one. Tanana, he has the newest devices. He keeps the new ones. What's the right one? Although or until? Very good. Although. Okay. Although he has the newest devices, that's for sure. That's the certainty. That's the fact. He has the newest devices. The unexpected. He keeps the new old ones. Okay? And in this case, if you wanted to use even though, that's fine. Remember, the way we've done is that you can use either one, even though or although. Okay? His wife is unhappy. Continuing here. His wife is unhappy. She has told him no more electronic gadgets as soon as or until you get rid of the old ones. No more electronic gadgets until you get rid of the old ones. Okay, no more, only if you get rid of the old ones. Okay, good. And now let's go to the other one. Don really wants a new phone. He can't bear to discard his old devices. So what's the option here? Although or until? The correct answer is although. Okay. Although Don really wants a new phone, he can't bear to discard his older devices. So it's very important for you to understand here as we do this review and as we just finish this exercise now. The important thing is that you need to understand is that when you use even though and although, it's a contrast. It's a contrast. You're contrasting one expected and the other unexpected. Okay, sentence. And because it's more of giving a reason. Okay, so this is important for you to understand. Okay, but still remember, if you have some things that you quite don't understand yet, please do not hesitate to send me a message and ask me your questions. Okay, and good. Okay, so now let's go to exercise 2. So exercise 2B. Okay, so now here we are in exercise 2B. what you have to do now is to look at the words that are underlined in the answers and then write the questions. So basically, now it's just giving you an idea of how to use interrogative pronouns and give you a feel how to make questions. Okay, the questions that goes with some of the expressions that we've learned as soon as, until, although. Okay, so let's go here. Look at the words that are underlined in the answers and write the question. So the first word that is underlined here is Bob. So clearly, it's no secret here that if you want to know Bob, then the question is who. Okay. And because who is a subject, you just do this. Who loves technology, right? Who loves technology? Bob loves technology. Okay, so that's basic questions. Why you have loves here? Because who is the subject? Simple present. Okay, uh, but if you have any questions, just reach out to me, because that's not the focus of today's review. I'm just gonna move along, but we can talk about this in another opportunity. Okay, so now let's go to conversation 2. He buys a new cell phone as soon as a new one comes out. He buys a new cell phone as soon as a new one comes out. So as soon as, give me the idea of time, okay? As soon as, because we are talking about right after. So it gives me the idea of time. And when you have time, the interrogative pronoun that you use is when. And then basically it's just a question. When does he buy a new cell phone? The answer is he buys a new cell phone as soon as a new one comes out. Okay, good. Number 3, conversation 3. His house is filled with new devices. So now the part of the sentence that is underlined here is basically a noun, a thing, right? New devices. So when it's a thing and you want to ask about things, basically the question will begin with what, and the question will be something like this. What is his house filled with? What is his house filled with? His house is filled with new devices. Okay, I understand that at this point, these questions are a little bit complicated, but unfortunately, that's not the focus of this lesson. I cannot explain, but I will come back to this if you need. Okay, just let me know, send me your comments, send me your questions, okay, and I'll do something just to focus on these. But let's go to number 4. But as I said, you need to practice. You need to practice. You need to read and you will get it, okay? Number 4, because of all the electronic gadgets, Bob's wife is unhappy. Because, look what's underlined here, because. So when you have because, the interrogative pronoun that you use is why, okay? And basically, why is she, or why is Bob's wife unhappy? Why is Bob's wife unhappy? Because of all the electronic gadgets. Okay. But you know, I understand that there might be other ways of asking and getting those answers. Uh, if you have any questions, if you want to send me the questions that you made, and that's okay. So there might be different questions that are correct too. Okay, so just let me know, and let's continue to study English. But don't forget, practice, practice, practice. Repetition is key to improve your English.